Welcome back, Wolfpack. Verlis here, and this is how to use Comfey. Okay, Triage is just absolutely broken. So when we first saw Comfey revealed, the mystery was like, wait, is Triage going to work with damaging healing moves? And if so, how much priority is it? Well, +3 priority to all healing moves. Now, this does not count things like Leech Seed, so you can't get like a cheese Leech Seed like that, but it does work with Draining Kiss. And as a Fairy-type Pokemon, our Stab is going to love that, but also just +3 to your Synthesis, +3 to your Healing, +3 to anything like that. What happens when you skill swap it into another Pokemon? It can also work on Giga Drain. Oh my goodness, the Triage ability. Like, it's as awesome as it would be to see this ability on another Pokemon. I can understand why you could only have it on one in the Comfey. So yeah, let's just keep looking at this Fairy typing as well, because Fairy does pretty well. It doesn't have insane highs, but also doesn't really have a lot of weaknesses either. Poison Steel, we already know that. As well as that immunity to Dragon, and then resistance to fighting Bug and Dark. So it's not going to be like this massive typing that comes in, tanks everything, and then doesn't have to worry about anything, but it's pretty close to that. And while fighting Bug and Dark aren't really the most important resistances, just the existence of Fairy and that immunity to Dragon means that Dragon-type Pokemon hate throwing out Dragon-type moves, because there's always that chance that a Comfey or any kind of Fairy-type Pokemon is going to come in, and they just lost their turn and let something in for free. Offensively, it's kind of the same. We have a Fire, Poison, and Steel resist, so we can't really do much against them, and we only hit Dark, Dragon, and Fighting for super effective damage, which just kind of shows the power of Dragon was transferred over into the power of Fairy. It's not like we have crazy amounts of stuff, but we don't really have to worry about much either. We have a lot of neutral hits, we also take a lot of things neutrally, and then we can hit quite a few super effective. It just keeps Dark just a little suppressed, so that's pretty nice. And now it's time for Comfey stats. This is where everything falls on. Like, Triage is good. Comfey, its moveset is good. Everything is good, but what are the stats? And they're actually still fairly good. So 51 hit points, unfortunately a little low, but as we've seen with like Rotom, Rotom Wash, all those forms and stuff, they can still be fairly tanky even though having like the 50s in the hit points, so it's alright. 90 on defense, and then 110 on the special defense. So the 110 special defense is going to give us enough effective defenses that our special defense is pretty good, that if we like put high investment into defense with max investment on our hit points, we should come out on top fairly well. So the Comfey does alright when we're looking at the stats. Could have been better, but at least it's not as bad as it could have been. Like, this is very, very usable. So let's go and check out the moveset. Oh, we have so much silliness with this moveset right here, because, yep, there it is. There's a Synthesis. And then Floral Healing. So Floral Healing is an exclusive move to Comfey. User restores target's hit points by up to half, restores more hit points when the terrain is grass. Think Heal Pulse, and then think that it heals more in grassy terrain. I'd imagine that's like 66%, right? Whoa! 100% of maximum hit points in grassy terrain. Never mind. I thought it was going to be like how Synthesis in Sunny Day gets a little bit more. No, that is a full heal in grassy terrain under +3 priority. Ooh, that is actually pretty dangerous right there. That is something to think about. So yeah, it's just going to be able to give that healing, and that works out really well. Then we have our own Synthesis, so we can heal ourselves. Now, at least it's Synthesis and not just something like a straight up recover, because that is going to be less PP. So we only have 5 PP or max of 8 if we're using PP ups and stuff. So that's going to give us good healing, but not forever infinite sustained levels of healing. We also get grassy terrain. So we can go and set the grassy terrain if we need to. So yeah, first turn, grassy terrain. Second turn, heal up the entirety of your ally, and then go and heal up some more and do weird stuff. Also, we get the Leech Seed. So I love the comparison between Comfey and Florges, that we have Pokemon that love grass, and they're like effectively flowers, and they have this synergy with grass, but they're still just a pure Fairy typing, and I think that works. That we give up the grass stab, but then we don't get a million other weaknesses that come along with the grass typing, so it works out in that regard. And I'm also wondering about tutor moves. So Mega Ruby and Alpha Sapphire, Florges got a crazy buff by gaining Giga Drain and Synthesis. So I'm thinking about sequels, I'm thinking about remake versions, I'm thinking about the future. Comfey is here forever now because it is a Pokemon. So if the move tutors come back and they're the same, that means we're going to be looking at a very similar thing to Florges. And we get a huge buff on that Giga Drain, because Giga Drain works with Triage. So now we're going to get priority on top of that. And as I was trying to look for, like, the first thing I was looking for was like, alright, what's Comfey going to get? Is it going to get the Calm Mind? It gets the Calm Mind. So you Calm Mind, and then you priority Draining Kiss, and you heal up all of your health back. Comfey is ridiculous. It's great. I love it. And then, like, with a potential, you know, Magic Coat, always a good move to have. It already got the Synthesis, so yeah, it looks like Comfey is in a really good spot. And the Florges is just, I'm wondering what to think of Florges. Like, they do two different things. I feel like the triage ability is just a little too good. But if Florges ended up with, like, triage ability in 7th generation, then that would be absolutely way too broken because, yeah, now we just have more stats. So the Comfey stats balance this one out, and it's just really interesting to see how it all comes together. So now let's go hop on over into Pokemon Showdown and really make the most out of Comfey. So Synthesis, Draining Kiss, Calm Mind, Energy Ball, or whatever other move. Like, this is pretty much going to be your core right here. You do this, and then you run whatever other move you want to off of our moveset right there. And that's where, like, the parallels and the comparisons come into play, because Klefki does a very similar thing. Klefki has Prankster, so it's not going to get priority on the damaging moves, but it is going to get priority on the setup, which effectively makes it tankier. That's why I love the Calm Mind Iron Defense Klefki set. That, oh, they have a physical attacker, Iron Defense. I now Iron Defensed before you, so I'm pretty set right now. I'm going to gain more effective stats. And Klefki got a lot of usage. Klefki feels like a really tanky Pokemon, but it actually has less stats overall. Like, the special defense is going to be lower than the Comfey, but the defense and hit points are slightly higher on the Klefki, but Klefki can set up the Iron Defense. So if you've used a lot of Klefki, Comfey is going to be a slightly bit more reliable before you start getting into your setup, and then the Calm Mind is just going to make your special defense absurd on the Comfey, and now you're getting priority on the Draining Kiss. So the big problem with the Klefki is that you have to Thunder Wave, then Draining Kiss, and you might take too much damage by that point to be able to heal up enough to survive. With Comfey, you just get to heal whenever. Synthesis, Klefki doesn't get recovery moves. Klefki, its best option is like Recycle Citrus Berry, which isn't really that fantastic. So because of this, you're going to be able to get insane amounts of healing. You're going to be able to make sure you never die with this. Okay, I'm taking a good amount of damage. Synthesis it up. Draining Kiss, get a lot of health back. Calm Mind, keep getting more stats into it. Also, Klefki does have slightly less on the special attack, you know? So if Comfey had like 90 special attack, this would be even more terrifying. And I was thinking, there's so many different item options here. You have Leftovers because you're just sustaining on top of sustaining. You do get access to that Leech Seed. So Leech Seed plus Leftovers, that's 3/8. And then that's every turn. And then you can just go for Calm Mind and then heal up at the end. You can go for Synthesis. Synthesis means you're getting back almost 75% of your health every turn. The Draining Kiss going to add to that. The Draining Kiss is going to do a good amount of damage, and unless it's hitting super effective, you're not healing up super amounts, but you're still getting over half of your health off of a Draining Kiss plus Leech Seed plus Leftovers. That's pretty big right there. Or you can go for the Citrus Berry. That's not going to be as guaranteed, but doesn't really matter. If the Citrus Berry lets you Calm Mind one more time before you start Draining Kissing, then that means you're going to be getting that 1/16 back in your Draining Kiss anyway, while having more damage. So a lot of weird options that you can take with the Comfey. Also, I just have some other things you can do. So you can do the Leech Seed. I said Energy Ball. If this Pokemon gets Giga Drain, I don't even want to think about that, because yeah, your extra coverage is going to make it pretty nuts. You get the Aromatherapy as well. So if you want a Cleric for a team, you know, you can set up, you can recover, you can do all kinds of fun stuff. And then even the Big Root. Holder gains 30% more hit points from draining moves, including Aqua Ring, Ingrain, and Leech Seed. Now, it doesn't do more damage, it just makes you gain more health. So that's actually a really interesting thing. Now, it doesn't do more damage. Like, there's a lot of weird thoughts about the Big Root because it says it steals more life. Well, that means you just gain more life instead of actually doing more damage directly. I've heard contradicting things, but Bulbapedia and Cerebi says it doesn't add to damage, so I'm going to stick to that. Either way, 30% more. That means at the end of every turn, Leech Seed is giving us slightly more. If they're a huge health tank kind of Pokemon and they have like a massive amount of hit points, we're going to be getting insane amounts off of Leech Seed plus the Big Root. Also Draining Kiss, just going to have a little bit more reliability right there. And at +2, +3 Calm Minds, then that's going to be better than a Citrus Berry or a Leftovers. So it's kind of like, how much in the future are you going to take the Comfey? A little riskier, but bigger payoffs, and that is the risk reward. Now Comfey is just ridiculous. This set right here, I walled out Toxapex. Like, it's a poison type Pokemon, but it doesn't invest into damage too often, and it was trying like the poison jab. So poison jab, okay, I got poison, but then I Leech Seeded it, and then I was just Synthesis, and then I was just Calm Minding, and I was just like slightly gaining the edge on this Pokemon. Now, it was like a Synthesis Recover War and stuff like that, and eventually he ended up switching out because it was just like massive stall at this point. But just kind of shows that once you max out, you know, you go that bold nature, you max out hit points, you max out defense, uninvested Pokemon, even with super effective hits, aren't really going to scare you too much. And also the Leech Seed just going to add on to the Draining Kiss, and everything's just going to make it to where Comfey can stay in against a lot of Pokemon, even though it doesn't seem like it, or at least you could like trade Stall, trade something like that. And even with the Citrus Berry, like, you could add the Leftovers now really, in those stall longer matchups, if they have leftovers, you have leftovers, you're just coming out ahead because now you outspeed them whenever you want, and then you're going to be doing more damage or getting tankier or have some kind of craziness going on for you right there. Other things, double battles. Comfey screams double battle, so you can either skill swap your triage ability onto something that really wants to use it, or you can also just kind of go for shenanigans. You have Helping Hand. Boosting power, letting your allied Pokemon just kill everything. You can do that. The Leech Seed. So there's a lot of weird things that you can do for the Comfey and doubles. I don't know which one is going to prove to be the best, and I think it's going to be very team comp oriented, because with Leech Seed, at least you slightly kind of have kill pressure in a way that, you know, if you're running all status, well then that means, like, now if Comfey is the only Pokemon and they, like, double mega focused all of your other Pokemon, well then Comfey doesn't get to really do too much, and then you just kind of lose by default right there. With a Leech Seed, it kind of at least makes you a little bit more of an annoyance that you Leech Seed both opponents. Well, now you're gaining a quarter of your health every turn, and then if you protect, you're gaining half your health, and then you can maybe try to get enough to maybe stall it out, or at least say, hey, you need to knock out the Comfey because this is getting really annoying right now. Also, Leech Seed will persist. If your Comfey goes down, the next Pokemon coming in will benefit from it. But also, it just brings the Floral Healing. So it's like, man, I have to deal with the Comfey because if they try to focus down, you know, your allied Pokemon or something like that, well, the Floral Healing, that's going to heal them back up to half or potentially even full if you're running grassy terrain before they get a chance to attack it again. So bulkier Pokemon can take a lot of advantage from this. First turn, you can set up that Helping Hand or whatever you want to do. So Helping Hand, try to lay down the damage. After that, you patch them up next turn, and then you find those opportunities for the Leech Seed. This is where you could also run Aromatherapy or even like a Synthesis for yourself. So if I'm calling Synthesis, I'm saying you run Synthesis instead of Protect. Now here's where it gets risky, because in doubles, having those Protect out plays is worth its weight in gold. But at the same time, if you are at low health and they're trying to finish you off because it's like, man, he's going to heal up his ally, so now we can take out the Comfey and we don't have to worry about that anymore. So if they focus damage onto you and you land that Synthesis before they get to attack you, because that's +3. That's +3. It's pretty much over at that point. I'm pretty much the only thing that can challenge you is a Fake Out, and if the Pokemon isn't faster than you. Now, uninvested 100 base speed, okay, I understand that. But still, that's going to be pretty massive right there. And then, yeah, you can just Synthesis. So you Synthesis, you get all of your health back, well, you get half your health back, and then depending on what else is going on, now your allied Pokemon went untouched and it gets to mow them down, and then Comfey can Floral Healing next turn or can keep Synthesising. So you just have to establish yourself as a threat, even without any damaging moves. That it will, like I said, your opponent will be in a good opportunity to just double focus, but with that Floral Healing, with the Helping Hand, you can try to push back a lot stronger before they get a chance to do that, and it's like, oh, man, I need to deal with the Comfey, even though it doesn't have any damage threat on me, because it's that proficient of a triage healer, and that's why I want the Mental Herb on it, because they might be like, oh, I'm going to taunt this thing to shut it down. Taunt doesn't work, and then you're still free to do whatever. You know, that taunt is most likely just going to be +0 or +1 with a priority prankster kind of thing. So first turn, Helping Hand. Then they taunt you later on that turn. You Mental Herb it up. That still gives you an opportunity to Floral Healing, Aromatherapy, Synthesis. You can use it for the turn, then switch out into a Pokemon that's going to respawn. Yeah, Comfey cleans up, and I just want to bring out the stat comparison to Florges, because this Pokemon's ridiculous. Like, what if Comfey had 70s in the hit points? Oh my goodness. We're about as defensively tanky as a Florges, but Florges smashes us in special defense, special attack, and hit points. So kind of showing the differences between these Pokemon and how far it could have gone. But weird stuff going on right here, and now let's go and hop on over to some damage calculations. Just see what we survive, where our damage comes in. Garchomp, it's kind of interesting because, like, we still do like 3-hit KOs-ish onto Garchomp, so 2 out of 3 chances to KO, but Garchomp does have a lot of damage back on us, and just kind of showing we could eat something, go for a Calm Mind, and try to heal back. That if we have Citrus Berry plus a +1 Draining Kiss and we're healing back all that, that could work out pretty good. And even then, Garchomp just doesn't 2-hit KO us unless it has Iron Head. So Garchomp either locks itself into the Iron Head or tries to play consistent with the Earthquake, and it's not going to be able to 2-hit KO us. So we can go for whatever setup we need to. We can just kind of chip in damage, and that's the defensive tankiness, because the defenses are going to be our weakest point on the Comfey. So just kind of showing even a very powerful Pokemon, showing some damage like that is going to be good. Life Orb does get a little trickier, but also, like, with Comfey, you bring it in when you're at an advantage, and then you get free setup. That if your opponent switches in, that's a free Calm Mind. If you already had a Calm Mind, that's a free +2. And now your Draining Kiss is priority, so your speed doesn't matter when you start getting to those +2, when you start getting to healing, when you start doing all that weird stuff right there. I want to look into some other things like setup. Since you're setting up, you're going to be very susceptible to setup as well. Mimikyu is kind of interesting at +2. Still can't one-hit KO you. At +4, it does, but that's if you're not getting your Draining Kiss and stuff. So depending on how set up the Mimikyu is, it might not be a good idea to bring in the Comfey. Also, Comfey just doesn't have a lot of damage in return, because Mimikyu is just... it's brutal. It comes in and it just gets that Swords Dance, and then it can probably find another Swords Dance. And against, like, tankier Pokemon, it just breaks them down super hard. Now, if Mimikyu isn't invested in speed, that's going to not really matter too much. Your Draining Kiss is already priority. Your Synthesis was already going to be priority. The only thing that could matter is, like, a Leech Seed. But even then, that really doesn't mean too much. So, it's not a favorable matchup, but it's just showing, like, the tankiness, even at +2, +3, +4, you have some good survivability. And that's when you just cheese in that Draining Kiss. You try to get that extra damage, and now you can start chipping away at your opponent, even when in the face of big moves, because priority is just that good. Especially uninvested on special defense. I mean, Xurkitree, it's not going to be enough damage. So here's how it works. Xurkitree goes for Thunderbolt, does damage, we Calm Mind, and then we can still have options to Draining Kiss. We still have options to survive and do extra damage to things. So maybe synergizing it with a Wish Pokemon that I really like Alomomola. Alomomola has the Regenerator and the Wish. The amount of healing that it can just provide throughout an entire team is so good. So if you have a free switch with the Comfey on a Wish, you can heal it back up pretty well, and you just plant in again. But if Comfey is already set up, then it just, like, excels massively. That you get the Leech Seed in, damage over time, you Synthesis, that you can keep Synthesis. That's the big thing, is that every time your opponent threatens you, it's like, alright, half my health before you can do anything. If you're not two-shotting me, it's bad for you. And if I have leftovers, if I have Leech Seed, you're definitely not two-shotting me, even like on some of those 60% hits, because I'm gaining enough health back, I can Synthesis it out. So you can stall it up a little, you can do chip damage, and then you can maybe find that setup. Once you get +2, +3 on the Calm Minds, now it's like, oh, I'm gaining way too much health back for you to deal with. I'm actually doing a considerable amount of damage, and then things start getting pretty crazy from there. So there we go, guys. That is the Comfey. Pretty epic Pokemon, if I do say so myself. I love Prankster. I love Priority. I love the setup. It just works. So if you guys enjoyed the video, hope you all have a nice day. Thank you very much for watching.